Welcome.
Okay, let's see here. Make sure we're doing. Okay, so let's see if we can get started. I'm going to share a screen, and what will probably happen is that it will go to full screen on your monitor, and there'll be along the side, you'll see the row of people's pictures. If you hit escape, it'll bring the image down, the screen share down a little bit. There should be a film strip across the top with the people. It won't be able to see everybody at once if you're in gallery view, but you'll think it'll work out okay. So I'm going to go ahead and share a screen for just our let's see here. Okay, and so let me I think y'all very probably already understand that you have the little thing towards the bottom. If you move your mouse across the screen, you'll see on the bottom where it'll say participants. You can click on that and it will show, a little pop-up will show the participants and some little icons that go with that. So if you're not gonna talk, just please mute your mics in case a dog barks or your phone rings. It doesn't interrupt anything. And if you need to ask a question in the middle of something, in the participants panel, there's a little thing that says raise hand, like I show here in the little panel. Just click on that and it should show fine. So let me make sure I'm seeing what I need to see. Escape out of that. So we're going to go through, we've kind of done some introductions to begin with, and our agenda here, let's see here. We're going to go over some Elementor news, and we're going to, a couple of things interesting to tell you about, and then I'll demo a featured free plugin, Dynamic Conditions, and then we're going to demo some interesting ways to use the Elementor's absolute positioning feature. As I run into, and for both of these, there's the demos I'm going to show you, they all came out of trying to find a particular solution to a particular problem. And so, you know, necessity is the mother of invention. So there you go. So let's see here. My mouse is really acting strange here. Okay. So let me move that over here. So I'm going to start a little poll here just to get a sense of where people are at. And if you could just fill out, there's just a couple of questions so that we can get a sense of who we are and what your needs might be. So you could just take a couple minutes, and there's, I think, 3 questions. If you could answer those, we'll let it be up there for a minute or so. What part of California did you say you were in?
I'm in a town called Morgan Hill, which is just south of San Jose.
Okay. I used to live in the San Francisco Bay Area, in East Bay.
Where do you live?
And well, when I first lived in Walnut Creek.
Okay.
And then,
I have a client in Walnut Creek.
Yeah, and that was right after I got married. And then I was in the restaurant business. This was 35 years ago. I was young. I couldn't do that today. And then I worked in Benicia. But, okay, let's see, I've given it enough time on the poll here. So this is largely for Elementor's benefit, just to kind of have to know who's coming, and so looks like we're kind of a good mix. So I'll share the results with you. So it looks like most folks are kind of in the beginning stages and learning, and most of you have Elementor Pro, and okay, more entrepreneurs and site owners than anything else. That's very interesting. So, okay, close that down, and let's get going with the next part. Let's see here. Okay, this is one of the things I wanted to share with you. This is a new thing that Elementor has come out with, is a thing called Elementor Experts, or you can find it at experts.elementor. They so I'm going to escape out of this. Oh, we're getting some feedback here. And we're going to share a different screen here. Going to share a okay. So this is the Experts Elementor, and this was originally meant to be made available later in the year, just for expert users. You know, if you have an account, you can, there's like I forget what they call it, the one where it's just one site, then there's another level, and then there's expert, where like you can have 1,000 sites. So they were just going to make it available for experts. But during the COVID crisis, they are going to make it available to anybody who's an Elementor Pro user. And it's designed for two things. It's designed for people to find an Elementor expert, and the way you can list of if you're not speaking, could you mute yourself? Somebody's got some radio noise or something in the background. That would be really great. You can filter by expert. Let's say I'm looking for a developer and who does obviously development and maybe theme development. And then let's say I want to spend, between $2,700 and $6,000. And let's say I'm in Los Angeles. So,
Yeah.
No results.
Hey, Carrie, I think you might have the ability to mute them as well.
Yep.
Try Morgan Hill.
Okay, let's see. Morgan Hill.
I don't develop teams, so I'm not popping up.
Okay. Let's see. Okay. So I'm sorry, getting distracted by the other aspects of doing this. So let's go back and make it let's say design. There's a lot more designers and developers, I think. Plugins. Let's say Atlanta. Clear all. Let's say design. Templates. Skills. Single post. Archive. And other types of skills that you can add. And let's say I'm looking for $100 to $3,300. Anyway, these people come up and this guy's in Australia. And you can click on them and see all about them. And they give kind of outline some of their portfolio, and their services, and their prices, and a little bit of a bio. And as long as the pandemic is going on, you'll be able to, if you're an Elementor Pro user, you can put yourself on here and become an expert. And if you have a Elementor Pro license, you can put yourself on here. They decided to do that to help people out during the time when maybe a lot of people are not able to make this much money. So feel free to do that. I just started to put some stuff on for me. Already logged in? Yeah, here we go. And then you can go in and see, edit your profile, add items to your portfolio, put items to your service, your bio. So if you're looking to get some side business, I'd maybe check that out. That's you can do that too. Give it a somebody give it a try and see if you can unmute yourself, because I can't watch everything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so if you need to talk, just unmute yourself, because I'm not going to, that little feature about raising your hand, I'm not going to be able to see that because of just the way the screen real estate is. So, there's that. And then one other thing I wanted to show you is about from Elementor News. is this. I was talking to somebody about it before we actually started. And this was the virtual road trip that Elementor itself is going to be going around the world and holding online meetups, but for four particular cities. And it turns out Atlanta is one of them. And you can see these are the cities they're going to be doing the online virtual meetups. And they're going to do one for the Atlanta area.
I attended the one in Lagos this morning.
Yep.
A good group there.
Yeah.
About 76 people, I think.
Yep. And now Tali, who's the coordinator from Elementor, told me about this a week or two ago. I don't know if they're going to use our platform for. See, there are two meetups in the Atlanta area, Elementor meetups. There's one in Atlanta and there's one in Gwinnett County. Very possibly they're going to use the one for Atlanta. I'm not sure yet. She said she was going to get back with more details because she's asked me to participate in that. So, and there'll be people from Elementor there talking and giving presentations. So
yeah, they had two people there from Elementor this morning. And I guess each one will have different speakers on different topics.
Mm-hmm. So that's coming, and that's kind of cool. So so that was the other little bit of Elementor news. Let's go back to
Greg, did you say that you attended the one today? So you can attend any one, basically, is what I'm asking.
Yeah, I just went through Meetup and I signed up and went to their Zoom session.
Okay.
Okay. So
I wasn't sure it was going to be in English, but it was.
We're good for that. So then we'll go to the next thing I'm going to walk y'all through is this plugin that I found, and some of you may be aware of it. It's Dynamic Conditions. It's a free plugin, and if you just search in the WordPress repository for Dynamic Conditions, it easy to find, and the link that you see on the screen is the link to a pretty good tutorial on it. There's a YouTube channel called WP Tuts, Tuts, and the fella does a lot of Elementor type videos, and he did one. He actually has done two on this plugin, and I thought it was pretty cool because I mentioned earlier that the whole idea for me was to solve problems, find solutions to something that I run up against, and this plugin was the thing that helped. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So go back to sharing my browser. I'm going to go close that tab out. Okay, and so we had, let me check on our participants here. Okay. All right, so this particular website actually just launched a few weeks ago. They came to me and they wanted to have all their team members, or most of their team members in their office, have a profile page that looks like this. Here we go. I think with all I'm actually running another screen over here with a Meetup so I can see what you see. So maybe the bandwidth is getting a little short here. So anyway, we had this was the team page that they wanted to have, the format. They have the person's photo, their name, their title, their bio, LinkedIn, a link to their LinkedIn profile, and a V card. So, but then after I built the template in Elementor, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, in the theme builder, a single team member. We built a template, and then of course these fields that were put into when they would go to add a team member would be done with advanced custom fields. So we have the template, and this area here draws from content from the actual page where you go into edit. And so anyway, we've got this kind of content. And then they come back and say, well, you know, when they started actually delivering the content for these pages, not everybody has a LinkedIn profile. So I thought, okay, so now the way it would be is if when they go to fill in the page, let's say, let's go to, let's look at this person here, Maria's profile. So you notice she doesn't have a LinkedIn profile. But before, the magic of this plugin, if you go to the team member, I'll show you. Because these fields are done in advanced custom fields, but there's a field down here to put the LinkedIn profile. But if there wasn't anything there, the way it was before is it would still show up, it just wouldn't go anywhere. So I needed to find a solution. So what we ended up doing was we found the plugin that I told you about is dynamic conditions. And the way that works is you click on the element that we want the dynamic condition for. Then we go to advanced, and we click on dynamic conditions. Oh, by the way, this is going to be recorded and it'll be made available for y'all to look at if you'd like to you get lost, or maybe you want to go back and have questions. So we have to set the dynamic conditions. I'm going to turn that off. Okay. So right now, with no dynamic condition set, this will just show up on every page. But if I go to set a dynamic condition, I'm going to go and see all these different things we can play off of. But I'm going to go and find advanced custom fields, and I'm looking for the one that is a URL field. And so that's the dynamic tag, and I click on the wrench and I look for the key, which is LinkedIn link. And then the next condition is just hide or show or hide. So I'll hide when that link is not there. When it's empty, I'll hide it. and then you save it. This here, update, and that saved me without having. There were other ways to do this. This could have been accomplished with CSS. It could have been accomplished with actually doing some PHP, but no, really.
What are the different conditions again?
I'm sorry?
Can you show the different conditions that are available?
The different, okay. Let's see.
I was wondering if they had a date condition.
Well, no, the condition is what the condition is kind of dependent on the dynamic tag. So let's, I'll stop that and I'll add.
So it's different depending on what you have
I
selected.
believe, yeah. So let's say, because you could, you can take data from the site, current date, time, and you could hide or show when is equal to or less than or between
Very good.
particular times.
Okay.
There's all kinds of interesting things you can do, and you can also do it by users. A lot of people use it to show certain content to certain users, because a lot of people have maybe they have customers that have logins to where they might be customers that buy stuff. So you can get information about users, user info. And if you could say, let's say that you could go from user meta that a person's username, first name, last name, ID, that you would want to show them particular content or not, hide content from them. So let me go back and.
Gary, what about sorting by type of website visitor? Like, the personalization class you taught at WordCamp last year. Like, what if you wanted to personalize it a certain type of web visitor, and you wanted to show them a certain pages or such? Is that possible with this plugin as well?
Well, this plugin is not so much. There are some tools that can do that, I think, and I think there's some aspects of Elementor itself that can do that. But let's see here, because you're talking about
There was one user info. Was that it?
Yeah, well, that is user that's logged in. What Brian is talking about, there are tools that, before we get too far down this rabbit hole, let me fix this back the way it's supposed to be. Hide when condition is empty. Okay. There are tools that you can sort of with cookies and doing polls and all kinds of interesting things that you can sort of identify. You can kind of profile a user and show them certain things depending on if you wanted to see if you were to go to WordCamp TV, just search on WordCamp TV, and then I guess search on my name. There's only one of, I think it's still there, a video of me doing a presentation. I explain all how that works. There's a product called Write Message, RIGHTMESSAGE, that they really do some interesting things about selecting based on behavior and information that you gather. But you need to have gotten at some point on your email list. But anyway, so that was one I wanted to show you. Then there was another one. Then we talked about in the agenda that wanted to explore or show you, I wanted to show you some examples of what you can do with absolute positioning in with Elementor. And so this is the home page to a customer, and they at one point came to me, and I'm just going to share this. They came to me with this. This little graphic here on the side was done by a graphic designer. And they said, okay, what we want this on the home page. And when the page loads, we want those little white discs to pop out, to pop up on the page. And we want those little white discs to be links, because these are anchor links to further down the page. And I'll show you how it works. And then we also want that when you hover over them, the discs shrink. And I thought, well, when they first described it to me, I thought, I don't know how to do that. But then it was around this time that Elementor came out with absolute positioning feature. So let's go back to our browser, share the browser, and see, let's reload this page. See, they pop up, and if I mouse over them, they shrink. And if I click on them, they're an anchor link to the difference, because this page is broken into sections. So how is that done? Well, I basically copied this section to a demo site and got the same deal here. There's nothing underneath to link to, but I'll kind of go through with you exactly how that's done. What we've got here is a section with two columns. And let's use the navigator to take a look at that. Are most of y'all familiar with the navigator? This can be very helpful sometimes if you've got a bunch of things with negative margins and things are overlapping. But we can see, when I click on that, that's this section. We can expand it. That's this column. That's this column. Let me see here. Somebody trying to get in. Yep. Okay. So anyway, now we go to this column. Oh, look at that. We've got all these images. So what's going on here? Well, let me make them go away for a second. So what we've got here is we've got a column that has one image that's a specific size that's filling up this column. I took apart the original image that the designer gave me, and and these are transparent pixels here, so this is a ping with transparent background. And then I created all these little disks separately. Oh, wait a minute. Just in Photoshop. Now, originally I thought maybe I could do this with an animated SVG, but at the time when I was working on this, and I don't know if they fixed this or not, but SGVs don't do very well with shadows. So I was stuck with pings. So anyway, so how do we do this? Okay, so let's take a look at what's going on with these images. We look at the first image here. I'm going to go look at positioning, and it is just placed in the frame of the column. Then when we get into these, let me do this. Let's say this particular one, the integration one, if we go and look at positioning, we see the width is set to custom, and it's the actual width of the image, but the position is absolute. And we're referencing from the left-hand side of this box and from the top side of this box. We're positioning it 14 pixels from the left, 134 pixels from the top. And you can see what happens if I change these numbers. It moves around. Let's go back to 14. So we go into positioning, we set the width to custom, and the width of whatever that image is. The position is absolute, and we can pick left or right and have it be offset by specific amounts. And when I did this, it was really by trial and error. I would place the image and it wants to go right up in here and towards the top. And I could drag it around. I mean, I can drag it up anywhere I want, try to get it close, and get it where I want. And so that's how the positioning is done. So that's taking care of getting that. That's just to get it in the right place. But they wanted it to do stuff. So then we get into motion effects. And so the entrance animation, we have a bounce in. Now you'll remember that when we load this page, they don't all come in at the same time. So we have the bounce in, and then these are staggered at different times. We go here. That one comes in right away. This one is at 500 milliseconds, so they stagger in. So let's go back to the integration. So that's how we get the animation to come in. Then, about the hover effect, we go to hover, and we say, on hover, animation should just shrink. We could change it to something else. We could have it pulse, like that, but that's not what they wanted. So we had it to shrink. Okay, so we've got that part of it done. Then all we had to do was put in the anchor link to take it down the page, and we have it. So then we got this kind of effect. Now I told them, I said, this is all well and good, but it's not going to work on it's just not going to work well on responsive. Because there's about 100 pixels in window size where you'll see that this will become off before it changes over. See right there? That it's broken essentially, and it would continue to get broken if you continue to squeeze it down. So I said, but that's just, I said, there's going to be, could be some people that have a particular size browser that
If that column's a fixed width, shouldn't it maintain its positioning from the corner of that column?
well, it's done in pixels. I tried to do it in percentages, but it just doesn't really hold. So anyway, what we decided to do was that when it gets to be a tablet, because this will cover most desktops and even in some iPads. I think an iPad Pro, but when it gets to a tablet, it just goes away. They lose that, and they were cool with that. So that was a limitation. But then recently, I had another project where the client, I'll show it to you. Let's see here. This was the same page that had the team page on this home page. So we got that animation effect. Because the client came to me and he says, "Well, one of our customers has this neat thing where they've got a big map of the United States and they've got spotlights coming out of the map wherever they have built locations and stuff, and we kind of like something like that." And basically, this was like a professionally produced video animation. I mean, expensive type stuff. And I told him, I said, that animation probably would cost you more than your website. He says, "Well, no, it doesn't have to be quite like that. Maybe just have dots show up." And I said, well, they'll see what I come up with. So tried to come up with something that was more interesting than just dots. And the thing that's interesting about this is responsive. And this is using absolute positioning. It goes until you get down to mobile. And mobile, we switch it to just an image because we don't want all these slides or images loading on mobile. It just slows it down. So we made that compromise. So how do we do that? And so real quickly, I'm not going to go through all of it because it's kind of involved. Here we go. So let's see here. Let's spread this back out. Okay, so what we have here is we have a section with that purple grid as a background. And then we have a column. We'll go to the navigator, take a look. We've got a column, and it's got this bottom image is the map. And the rest of these are, you see over here, you can kind of get a sense it's all transparent, except it's got the 10 to 11, 12, 13 location markers. You can see that and they're in different positions. And the way this is set up, the map and every single one of these position markers are all the same size. So when we go to the absolute position, we go to full width, it's absolute, left top 0. So they're all, it's like 11 panes of glass with different artwork on them that are stacked on top of each other, but then they're timed to slide down in series about a quarter of a second apart. And you can, and that's just through the motion effect. It's fade in, down. And this is one of the last ones to show, 1750 milliseconds. And let's go up here. Let's see what that is. Motion effects and 750 milliseconds. So that's just a real quick overview of how that was done. And you can do that with Elementor Pro. And there was no other plugins. I mean, you had to create the graphics to go in. And those.
Did you have to set a Z index on each one of those images?
No. You just you can do it through the.
Just stack them up, huh?
Yeah, you can do it through the navigator because these stack.
Okay. Very
Because I
good.
can now. Once we get above the map, doesn't really matter what order these are in because in terms of Z-index, because they're transparent except where they have the little icons. But you know, I can move them. You know, the stack order like that. So it and it's actually a pretty cool thing. So that's what you can do with absolute positioning. Let's see, where are we going next?
How tough is that on site speed?
I'm sorry?
How tough is that on site speed?
Well, when I'm not running 2 Zoom sessions on the same network in the house, it's actually pretty good because those get out of here. These slides that I was showing you, they're only like 5K in size. Where the issue comes in is server requests. That's a problem. If you're going to be, but it's not a problem it's not a problem so much for the user on a desktop because it just loads fast. And it's not a problem where it matters, which is on mobile, because we're not loading those 11 images. Because we're just loading on mobile, we just bring it down to 1 and we lose the animation.
Gotcha.
So let's see here. So, okay, so let's see where we're at now. So I guess it's time to open it up for questions and answers. Let me stop sharing and we'll get all talking to each other here. So anybody have any particular issues they're dealing with or any questions about something they need help with?
So I'm sorry I'm late, by the way. I got detained. Am I loud enough?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, we're good.
So I've got a site that I've put in one of these sort of logo walls that Elementor Pro's got a bunch of additional add-ons. My problem right now is that the logo wall on mobile will only go to 2 columns. So we've got this spread of logos that are tiny instead of just going to a single column, which would be fine. Is there any add-on that you guys know of that would handle that, or do I just need to go to a gallery?
Well, there's what plugin do you have any Elementor sort of add-on plugins that you
Yeah,
might
I've got like 3 of them right now. So I've got one's called Happy
add-ons?
and then another one's called just I think Elementor add-ons, and then I think one's called Elementor. I don't know. They all sound about the same. They all seem to kind of be the same.
Right.
I think the one that I'm using is Happy.
Yeah, that's got some cool stuff to it.
It does.
So it won't allow you to go down to one column.
Not in the plugin or the widget that they want you to use to sort of like present your logos. So you can roll over and they'll change color. I don't even need to link them. But on a mobile, there's 2 columns and they're like this big.
Gotcha. Well, let's see. Let me.
You can't change the CSS to 100% on each one.
And now we're getting out of the reason why I'm using Elementor.
I hear you. I hear you. Let's see what we can do about that. I'm trying to think of, because this. Well, that's the demo. Let's go to this site here. Is this site? Let me see how this. Now you said a logo wall, or was it a scroller?
It was a wall, or I mean, it's not really a wall. It's kind of like almost like a gallery, not using any kind of mosaic or justified layout.
Something like this.
Yeah, it doesn't load like that exactly, but yeah, it looks just like that, except that if you went to your mobile view, at the bottom of your Elementor bit, it would only allow you to go to 2 columns.
Okay, let's see. Let's look at this page.
So down there at your just below at your
Right, I just want to find the page that's on and see how this is done, because I believe this will go to single one. Let's see. Clients we serve.
It's been a lot of fun to see all these themes now pushing out Elementor as opposed to Bakery, and I'm so happy.
Yeah, let's see what I've got here. I've just got galleries on these. Let's see.
Right. I can make it happen in a gallery, but it doesn't give me the same kind of easy rollover. And that may be the solution, is just to go back to a gallery.
Well, when you say roll over, what is it? What does it roll over to?
So right now I can set it to drop down into like a 50% opacity, and then it comes back to 100 when you roll over. And I know I can do that with these, but it's a lot of work.
Well, it sounds kind of like a flip card kind of thing, or this site has some funky things on it too.
I mean, I can sort it. Even in the gallery, I can set a rollover to change the opacity each individual one. But this is kind of cool because you just, kind of pour them in, and then they all have the same settings. You set the settings once.
Seems like Jet Elements by Crock-a-Block might have a logo a logo feature in their plugins.
All right. I saw that in a YouTube tutorial, Jet Elements. I'll check them.
Yeah. And because they all, there's lots of different ways to skin the proverbial cat. They call them a logo carousel or a logo wall, but they're just images, and
Right.
you know, kind of what can we do with an image? And it just happens to be a logo. So
Yeah, I was hoping for the whole purpose of, for me, for Elementor and all of these page builder sort of like add-ons is like quick, fast, easy.
Mhm.
And was curious if there was one that you all knew of, but this helps.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of, I was having a conversation with Charisse before the meeting really started. That was why I began to use Elementor. I've been intrigued by it. And of course, you know, there was a period of time, like maybe 2 years ago now, where it was Beaver Builder, Elementor, Beaver Builder, Elementor. Who's going to be and Beaver Builder was first out of the gate, but Elementor was very aggressive, and they were just releasing, and maybe sometimes too fast. But you know, but you know, still you had to deal with themes, and you know, I maintain now a number of sites, and it is such a huge pain to have to. There's a couple of things that happen. You have to you write your own theme, and every time WordPress updates, you've got to recode your or go through and check your theme to make sure it's compliant with the latest version of WordPress. Or if you buy an off-the-shelf theme, you are at the mercy of the theme developer. I've had situations to where you have a site with a theme, and they make a huge update, and they say, well, you have to do is to go through it, you know, it only takes 2 or 3 hours to get it back to the way get everything. It's like, that's not the point of what and if I have to do that with a bunch of sites, it's a pain. Maintenance, when you start building lots of sites, how you do maintenance and keep things simple, it becomes an issue. And when Elementor came out with the theme builder, that's when I said, okay, I think we're in business now. Because what inevitably happens when you can have a very flexible theme, a good theme, but the client's going to say, yeah, but can you make it do this? And you can, maybe. And I still run into it. Go back to one of these. Let's see here.
Yeah, that's when I left Beaver Builder and went to Elementor.
That you still, let me, where's, share screen. I'll show you. I still had, gonna go here. I had a customer that wanted, and I ended up using the code I used for that site to use on this site. They wanted the search to behave like this. That you mouse over it and the thing pops out. Now, this one kind of does that, but if you take it away, it goes back. And people can type in, but you know, they wanted it, once you went over it, to stay out. So this required CSS, a fair amount of CSS, and it required some jQuery to make it do that. So there's still times when people ask for things, but I can meet their needs more readily and easily with Elementor on all these little weird things that they want than I can trying to, you know, sort of put a round peg in a square hole with an existing theme. So,
Gary, have you used Microthemer?
I have it.
Okay, it's kind of nice. It kind of Picks
And
up where
I
Elementor
used it
leaves off.
a couple of times, and to tell you the truth, Greg, I forgot I had it. But yeah, I have it. I think it's you have to pay for it, didn't you?
Yeah, you do have to pay for it.
Yeah, I paid
Elementor only
for it.
takes you so far, and it can
And
do just anything else.
I'm gonna have to go back and take a look at that. That I'd forgotten I had it. But yeah, I remember. I thought it gave you a lot more granular control in. If I recall, you can maybe tell everybody more.
Yeah,
about
quite a
if you
bit of
use
control.
it.
They also have a flex grid controller too, which allows you to rearrange blocks however you want. And it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's something that is actually used quite a bit by a lot of different tools. The flex
grid
system, and I remember when that first came out, and it seemed counterintuitive in many ways, but I'm gonna have to go back and look at that. So.
Are you all using Hello Elementor as your general base? That's what I've been doing.
Well, we were talking about that a few minutes before
Or I was super late.
yeah. What I've been doing has been I use different things, but I settled on the Astra theme.
Okay. I've seen that being.
But there are some other. I don't know that it's better other than was it Generate Press? I think is the one that, and WP Ocean.
Those are the big three, yeah. And Hello.
But I was looking at a demo on somebody using Hello, and it's very compelling idea to be able to use it. I like Astra because it also has an add-on, sort of bumps it up, called Astra Pro, that allows me to do some things like gain access to the hooks in the theme, to where, like, if I want to, like, let's see, give you an example. This isn't going to be a site that's built with, get back to screen sharing. Share screen. This is a site. This is a fun site. It used to be a fun site when we had wanted posters on the site, but this is a website. This is not done with Elementor, but this banner across the top, that is outside of the body. So the way I had to do this was with hooks, and so you had to. I don't remember the particular theme has its own particular sets of hooks, but with I'll show you in Astra Pro. There we go. Show you. And their appearance, custom layouts. We have, like, you can use it to add Google Analytics. A lot of themes have that kind of thing, but this does it with hooks, and you pick the hook, and you can use any one of these hooks to put content in particular areas. I have found that particularly useful. But there's other tools that can do that too. So I was telling, I think it might have been Charisse earlier, that I might, the next, if it's not a big site that might have a lot of demands on being lots of functionality, but maybe something simple, I might go give Hello Theme a try. Because it certainly would make things simple. And with the theme builder, because I'm already, for all intents and purposes, and that since they've added, what is it, theme settings or theme styling, they're moving towards making a theme unnecessary. That it would be more of, the theme is just there because WordPress says you need to have a theme.
Right.
And maybe a superstructure or a skeleton to hang everything on. But with the theme styling, they're getting it to where you can set global, like you might otherwise do in a theme customizer.
Right.
On the theme. And with the theme builder, oh man, it is so awesome because you can have different versions of different headers for different pages, because you can set the conditions. I want this header to be on these kind of pages and this header to be on another kind of page. Brian, you were talking about some conditional type situations. I'm not sure of what all the different kind of situations you were thinking of, but you could do some of them. I think you can do with the theme builder itself under certain types of circumstances.
Site I'm working on right now is for a photographer, and he has 2 specific ways that he shoots photos, and has required us, this is like the 3rd website we built for him, but now all my partners are off being art directors other places, and it's up to me. So, I'm irritated that I'm actually having to do it, but it's also a lot of fun.
Right.
And without what Elementor has given me on that bit, I couldn't have done it, because this site is basically 2 sites in one.
Right.
Almost effectively 2 blogs. It allows me to fake out. I split the site just by nature of structure, and because I can build separate menus for any page,
right.
Separate headers that are conditional, and that's been awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to think of it that way, but it does work,
Yeah. Well, that's one of the, when I started earlier, I was saying that one of the things that Elementor's helped me in many instances is find the solution to something that somebody has come up with that wouldn't otherwise. It would be really hard to do unless you coded it that way.
Right.
And if you're going, particularly if you're a one person, or you might have some people that help you do some maintenance and some admin work, but if you're one person, you don't want to be trying to keep 40 code bases or 50 code bases up to date all the time. You just don't have enough time, and build the websites and do marketing and do everything else that we have to do.
I don't even have the code knowledge. This is a better thing than Wix or Squarespace for me, though, because I still can customize a lot. And as an artist, that's what I want to do.
Well, I have just as much code knowledge as I've had to absolutely have to have. Because I've went down the road of learning how to, work in PHP Storm and all these kind of things, and doing the CSS compilers and all these things. It's like, that seems like an awful lot of work for the return. Now, if you're getting, working for an agency and they got big bucks and they'll let you do just that, but I don't do just that. I have to be lots of things to different people, and it just wasn't practical. So
yeah, it's a golden age.
yeah. So, but because we have some experience in doing this, we have the opportunity. I think we have the insight to see what it could do. That because a lot of people will take Element, and it's great. Elementor is very easy for somebody. I think it's very easy for somebody to just pick up and build a website, and they have all these templates available. But it's also for people who have been doing it for a while. You can see the potential that you could build some really remarkable stuff because of how flexible it is, and the ecosystem for the add-ons has gotten pretty elaborate too. That you mentioned the happy add-ons. That's pretty interesting. There's another one, dynamic content. I think is it's the first one. I think that's what it's called, dynamic content. It's the first Elementor add-on that actually gives Elementor access to repeater fields and advanced custom fields. Because in the demo I was showing, we were pulling a URL field from an advanced custom field for a team member page. But some pages have repeater fields that you can put the same stuff and it just repeats down, like same type of data, it just repeats. Well, Elementor doesn't deal with that yet. Well, this other plugin can deal with that. Because I remember it was at WordPress Gwinnett that we went to, that Brian and I go to, and some other people go to, that there was a lady that was working on a site in Elementor, and she was trying to deal with repeater fields, and I didn't know how to do it, but since then I ran across this plugin. See if I can find it quickly.
Very disappointed y'all aren't drinking beer.
Well, maybe later.
Almost that time.
Let's see. Yeah, this is it. Now this has all kinds of stuff, and I'll let you go through the different widgets. What it talks about at ACF, it talks about it has repeater fields. Lost it there. I've got this annoying little thing that goes up and down.
Is that something on their site, or is that something in your system?
No, that's one of their widgets. To me, it's annoying. But,
I'm with you on that.
so you can see down there, there's repeater field.
Cool stuff for no reason.
They have some extensions that can, this cross-pace, cross-site, which is kind of interesting, but that's already been done. Happy Add-ons does that, I think. I'm not positive. But Ultimate Add-ons for Elementor has this in their latest release. In fact, that's how I quickly set up these demos, because I didn't want to clone this whole Oracy site over to a demo server because it's a pretty big site. Because I've got loads and loads of documentation.
All that little animation there on that home slide is all Elementor?
Oh yeah, this is all Elementor. And
Man,
so I was with ultimate add-ons for Elementor. I would be able to go into open this page in Elementor and right-click on the section tab, and at the very bottom of the list, there's two new things that say UAE Ultimate Add-ons for Elementor, UAE Copy, and then I can go to this page when I have it opened in Elementor and paste or right-click on the section tab and click on UAE Paste, and it pulls over all the images, the layout. Now, it will still pick up some of the theme settings in terms of typography and stuff. But the only other way it used to be would be you'd have to export it as a template, import it, but then you'd have to move all your images over and all that kind of stuff. And so this, it's actually...
Yeah, and the global widget thing is still kind of confusing me, but I just haven't played with it enough to actually have a question.
Yeah, well, it works. It's very handy for things like this site.
For instance, I saved a menu layout set up as a global widget just as a starter menu for this particular site that each page almost has a different menu. I just wanted the settings to be the same, but they weren't. They were easy to fix, but I still had to do it.
Well, I use global widgets for this particular site. This is a local festival. And let me reload this. Because these sections here, these six sections are essentially on every page, but they're not in a footer or anything like that. The footer is not even way until you get way down here. But so like we go to arts and crafts, go down here, and they pop up. Well, each one of these is a global widget.
Gotcha.
And so, this is an annual event, and this is last year's website, and this was the first year that we built it in Elementor. But they're constantly changing stuff. Like they're changing dates every year, and they want pictures swapped out. I don't want to have to go. I want to go into one place, and I just change that one widget, and it changes it everywhere on the site.
Gotcha.
So that's the point of the global widget, I think, is that if you have something that you want to have at hand that you might need, that's going to be the same everywhere on the site, or something like it's going to be, because you can unlink it from the global and then use it. But if you make a change to the global, that one that you unlink, it's not going to change.
Right. I guess my trouble was I created my settings. I got everything styled the way I wanted to through the Elementor, side bar, and then saved it as the global widget as a starter for a bunch of pages. And it basically was 2 menu items, and they were styled. But once I got in there, the styling went away each time. Like I would drop that global widget and the styling wasn't there. So I haven't figured that out yet. I'm undoubtedly doing something wrong, but it's cool that you can it's helpful, and it beats the pants off of WP Bakery. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah.
The worst, man.
Well, it's not as bad as, well, I haven't really used, I have two sites. One I inherited and one I built about 7 years ago, where I still maintain it and it uses that. But no, it's, I think this is.
It's not visual enough.
No, well, it's in part of it is, used to because a lot of themes for years have had their own page builders. Some of the bigger themes have their own page builders, but you have to make the change, then you have to save, then you have to preview. You got all these steps in between that when you're making changes and changes and changes, it adds up to hours and hours and hours, where you can see exactly, not kind of, but exactly what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes a big deal for me. So any questions? We've got just a few minutes left. If you have questions that maybe didn't occur to you or that you might not have time for, feel free to email me. The email, I believe, is in, or message me in Meetup Messenger and ask your question, and I'll try to help you. I mean, I've done, even if it's a matter of jumping on a Zoom call for 30 minutes to look at what you got.
Kerry, what's your email?
Kerry, Kerry, at wpwolfpress.com. I think it was on the intro screen here.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I had it somewhere. Yeah, here we go. I'll share this with you.
So I do have a question as well, and this may be a little bit basic for some of the folks, but the short story of it is that I have a nonprofit that I started around clean transportation and electric vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
In the beginning, obviously we were on a tight budget, so found Elementor, got an Elementor, purchased Elementor Pro, started working on it, built a very simple page, and now we've grown. We have chapters in different parts of the country.
Good for you.
Thank you. And now we need a better web presence.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I'm challenged with is trying to run the nonprofit and not really having the time to really sit down and go through what are the different elements of web presence that we could have. What are some of the features that what is the best way to assess that? So one of the things we want to do is an online tutorial that kind of explains to people how electric vehicles work.
Mm-hmm.
Another may be, I was looking at the page where once you hover over it expands, and I was thinking about some different elements that would be cool to explain to people, like how charging works, like how range works, all of those different things that are specific to an electric vehicle. But the idea is, what is the best way to figure out, like, without becoming bloated and over the top, like, what are some good features that we should have? And it's a membership-based group as well.
Right. And it's a WordPress site, I guess?
Yeah, yes, Elementor.
Well, you want maybe next week, you can drop me an email and we could set a time, and maybe I can help you or advise you or give you some insight.
I would greatly appreciate that.
Let me share. Make sure you got that email. This is my email address.
Yep, got it.
WPWolf with an E, press.com. So,
yep.
Okay. All righty. Anybody else have any questions?
Going to do another Elementor meetup?
Yes, that's the plan. Let's see here. Let me. Share screen. Okay, that's the plan. We're going to have the next meetup plan on June 11th, the second Thursday. I put location to be determined because when I did this, I didn't know if our physical place was going to be, we were going to use that, but I've since decided that we are going to go ahead and do it online. Because you're in California, but here in
That's a long drive.
Atlanta or Atlanta area, we're actually in a suburb of Atlanta called Lawrenceville. And there's a co-working place, a really nice one here in Lawrenceville, where we have our meetup, our Elementor meetup, and they are just opening again tomorrow. But they've got all these social distancing restrictions in place, and I don't know that we have a pretty good sized training room that we use for the meetup, but I don't know we could really, if we have 30 people in the room, how are you going to fit 30 people in the room? And so we'll see.
I love this, man. It keeps me 45-minute drive.
Yeah.
Perfectly happy right here.
No, it's if we could figure out how to do this more like a real meetup. Of course, the people who do meetups, like the WordPress that's in charge of meetups, and even the people at Elementor that are in charge of the Elementor meetups, they really would rather everybody be in person. And it is a more real experience. But if you live in Atlanta, for instance, and you have to fight the commute, I know that more people would come to these if they could do them online than they would go to the physical meetup, because, they may have to drive. In Atlanta, you can't get anywhere fast. I mean, if you live 20 miles away, the meetups are at 6:30 or 7, hell, people just getting home from work at 7 o'clock. So, so you could help more people, but it's harder to help the people because maybe as the group grows and we have 3 or 4 people like me that can be present to sort of, we'll go into breakout rooms, and because it's kind of, and somebody to monitor the participants in the chat and all that kind of stuff. It's hard for one person to do that on this. But we're going to do it again next month. And then I mentioned, I don't know if everyone remembered or heard, Elementor is going to be doing a world tour on that. They're going to be doing a meetup for Atlanta on June 16th. I'm sure you'll get some information about that. They've asked me to be part of that. And so that's going to be on top of our regular meetup. But probably in July, we'll be back to going to the physical meetup at the Cornerstone Co-working in Lawrenceville for this particular meetup. So, any other questions? Okay.
So Carrie, this is Therese. I have one question in regards to the plugin that you mentioned, the dynamic conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, do you think that will handle selector options, testing whether or not it's true or false, and then not allowing those particular check boxes to appear?
Could be. It's free. The particular the dynamic conditions plugin is free. Give it a try.
All right.
And because they actually have been, they might be on a track to come out with a pro version, because I think they've been making updates to it pretty regularly. So give it a try.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Yeah. Anything else? Are we ready to say good night? Or I guess it's good afternoon. What time is it? It's almost Miller time in California.
5:30.
Yeah. So, all righty.
I'm sorry, Terry, one more question.
Okay.
The repeater that you mentioned, I didn't hear the name. Did you ever mention that?
Oh, the plugin that can deal with repeater fields. Here, let me share that. If you can see the screen.
Okay.
That's dynamic.ooo. It's a weird URL, but that's what it is. And it's dynamic content for Elementor.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Do you get everything they have?
No.
Sorry?
All right.
Do you get everything they have for that 39, what is that, euros?
Let's see. Any widget or extension is licensed for a single site.
Okay.
And then for $109, you have a license, essentially an unlimited license.
I think that's euros, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, 100 euros. But, I don't know what it is now. When this COVID thing came, the euro almost got to be about the same as a dollar, like $1.06.
Okay.
I wasn't looking for it. I happened to run across it I was looking at something on business, and it had a rate exchange, and it showed the euro to dollar. And the last time I was in Europe, 4 or 5 years ago, I guess, it was like $1.30 to the euro. So it's now last time I saw it was 106. This economy is all over acting wacky, like the price of oil going crazy.
$1.08, yeah, pretty close.
I mean, they actually
toilet paper than oil.
Sorry?
Costs more to buy toilet paper than oil.
If you can find it. So, all righty. Well, I think we gotta shut her down for the night. I really appreciate you guys coming, and I hope you found something helpful. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. I'm glad that Greg, that you came and visited us. You're welcome.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And look forward to seeing all y'all again. And Brian, I think we talked briefly about it. I'm gonna try to hit you up to maybe be a co-organizer for this.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Yeah, because it's almost impossible for one person to kind of keep track of all these different screens.
Yeah.
So, but we'll talk about that. We've got a month to figure that out. So, all righty, everybody.
Well, thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
All right, thanks.
Thanks
Bye.
for coming. Y'all have a good night.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
All right.
Stay safe.
Hi, guys. Thanks.